Hey Internet, Sergeant, welcome back. Thanks for tuning into the show today. Now today is Sunday, so you know what that means. We're going around the net with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. And boy, do we have a show for you this week because we have two credit card issuers in the news, both looking at some potential new credit card options. From Capital One sending out a survey we can overreact to from a Savor X, if you will. That's probably what it's going to be known as. And of course, we have American Express, not to be outdone, filing multiple trademarks for potential new credit cards as well. More speculation and overreaction to be sure. We also have Marriott and Southwest in the mix with some credit card changes and an acquisition of their own, respectively. So, of course, if any of that sounds interesting to you, go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. Now, we will lead off with Marriott, my favorite hotel chain, for no real reason other than I just simply started staying there when I was a younger man. But they are in the news because they are acquiring something called Citizen M Brands. Let's take a look at this. They have a press release, and everyone's saying nice things about everyone. It's like the feel-good story just in the beginning of the show, like the local news. So Marriott has announced it has reached an agreement to acquire the lifestyle brand Citizen M, a unique and innovative offering in the select service segment. The transaction is expected to accelerate Marriott's global expansion of its select service and lifestyle lodging offerings. I don't know what that means. As the company continues to focus on expanding its portfolio, on and on and on. See, who wouldn't love Marriott after this? A little bit about Citizen M. Global portfolio currently consists of 36 open hotels, about 8,500 rooms across 20 cities, spanning US, Europe, and Asia Pacific. Of course, they're talking New York, London, Paris, and Rome. They also have a few properties under construction, which will bring them up to 600 rooms. That is going to open by mid-2026. So there you go. Overall, another acquisition for Marriott. Like as always, I feel like we've seen a lot of the major chains starting to acquire more stuff over the last, few months. We won't know for sure until they bring it into the Bonvoy portfolio, and you can see what the redemptions get you and what the value is. Some people care very much about maximum value. Granted, people probably don't care about Marriott things. Their points aren't worth a ton, but hey, not everyone does. I don't really that much myself. So if you stayed there before, let us know. Citizen M, it sounds like a cool name. It's very close to Citizen Kane, but I guess that was already taken. So there you go. But if you don't like those options, well, someone else trying to give you options is JetBlue. Now, JetBlue's in the news again for compliments of Reuters. Because a while back, 2023, JetBlue tried to form something called the Northeast Alliance with American Airlines. That was shot down by a judge. So they're at it again, looking for a partner. Specifically, this time they're talking to United. So JetBlue Airways and United Airlines have been negotiating a partnership. Three industry sources close to the matter told Reuters. Again, the New York-based airline has been seeking partnerships after a federal judge blocked its so-called Northeast Alliance with American Airlines back in 2023. So the partnership with United is envisioned as quite different from the Northeast Alliance, the sources said. They don't say how. Maybe they just didn't give it like this superpower name, and that makes judges happy that it doesn't seem as nefarious. Calling it an alliance, within when we're sensitive to, monopolies and trade wars and stuff, probably not the greatest thing. But anyways, it's expected to focus on providing greater connectivity to customers, allowing them to earn and burn frequent flyer miles. Two carriers will not coordinate on schedules and pricing, they added. So, we don't have many details other than that. I wasn't going to talk about it until I heard burning frequent flyer miles, which is probably what they threw in there. But does that make, JetBlue United's currency become interchangeable some places? We don't really know. We don't know what the value would be of that either, back to our points valuation. But again, more options is potentially good. So if anything comes of this potential alliance, but not alliance for, playing nice reasons, we will definitely let you know. Now, not to be outdone, Southwest, who's absolutely dominated the headlines over the last month or so, which is very strange, is back once again. This is compliments of the points guy who put together this handy chart. But Southwest is changing their fare names, some of the perks and benefits that come with each one, as well as using their credit cards to, as we guessed, solve some of the problems which they themselves created. So again, compliments of the points guy. They made this nice chart, so we're just gonna rip it off as we're known to do here. So here you go. You can see what they're doing. I'm not going to go through all of this because I think we've covered most of this over the last few weeks, give or take. But they're changing the names of their tiers, so Choice Extra is now Choice Extra. It used to be Business Select. That one makes the most sense because you wouldn't get Choice Extra. You wouldn't know that was Business Select. Not that it mattered, but you just wouldn't know. Choice Preferred is the new version of Anytime. Want to Get Away is now Choice, and Basic is Want to Get Away. I would have left the names the same, actually. Not that the names make sense. The newer names probably make more sense, but they were like Southwest's names. I think everyone who flew Southwest had learned them, and Want to Get Away sounds better than Basic in a world where marketing exists, but they didn't ask me. So you can see the effective date. Basic goes on sale May 28th. The rest of them start third quarter of this year for flights in 2026. I don't know anyone who's booking flights that early. Some of you people are really prepared. That's definitely not me. You can see, again, seat selection where we got extra legroom, preferred, or any standard seat. So you can go through it. The check bag thing is a big one. Again, on their business, it's 2 free. Everything else is cost extra, which is a perfect segue to the next chart we have, which is the credit card. So if you take a look at this, also from TPG, they have, if you have the Southwest Rapid Rewards Priority Card or the Rapid Performance Business, extra legroom seat selections within 48 hours of departure, preferred seat selection is at booking, and standard seat is at booking as well. And you can kind of go down the list, so it's either at booking or within 48 hours. So you can clearly see the cards they want you to have at the top there, because again, at booking is when you book it, which they would be, again, if you're one of these people booking, long time ahead of time, being prepared like an adult, then you'd have the most options. 48 hours is probably still enough options, you would imagine. But what I didn't know, having traveled with a Southwest loyalist, is that you guys, when they were doing just free seating, these Southwest people would just set an alarm on their phone for when they had to check in and pick their seat. I've never flown Southwest. I didn't know people were doing that. Like, I just picked my seat when I buy the ticket in Delta, and it's fine, which I think the other airlines were doing it too. I didn't know this was a thing, so I learned something new. It's interesting to watch. So anyhow, as we've said, which you don't have to be in this business for too long, yeah, they cause problems. Like, they don't see checked bags on here, but that's also a part of it. We talked about last week. If you have a credit card, it's very common for these credit cards to cover checked bags as long as you use them like one per person on your itinerary. And now they're also adding, you get the preferred seat selection at booking with the credit card. Again, it wasn't a problem. They made it a problem. They offered you a solution. Classic business 101. So there you go. But if you don't want a Southwest card and you prefer more points currency that is, flexible and not locked into a specific chain, well, the Capital One may have caught your interest, because they're floating around a new survey. It's going to be basically called the Savor X. We're going to name that on YouTube, because Savor X is going to get your attention and you're going to click on it, right? It has been rumored in the past, but here's the survey. I got it from the good doctor of credit. You know what Capital One Entertainment is. You know what Capital One Travel is. So we'll just go down to straight details. So you're looking at 4x on dining and entertainment, 3 back on groceries, 10 back on hotels, rental cars booked through Capital One Travel, and 10 back on Capital One Entertainment purchases, 1 back on everything else. Additional benefits, $100 Capital One Travel credit, annual $100 dining credit to spend at the collection of the best restaurants, Michelin-starred hotspots, annual $120 credit at Starbucks, complimentary Apple TV Plus that they value at $120, complimentary Uber One that they also value at $120, annual fee $295. So again, this is kind of sort of aimed at the gold card, you could say. I think that's its closest competitor. How much you like it or not is largely dependent on what you feel about these credits. I don't think the Capital One Travel one is bad, because given Capital One's target demographic would probably be going through the travel portal anyways. That's kind of how the Venture X is set up and the Venture cards are set up. So I don't think that one's terrible. The $100 dining credit, it sounds like something that would just be paid out all at once, but I don't know. I think it being limited, I don't know if it's to their collection, right? You would always prefer that to just work in person at a restaurant. Starbucks credit, I don't know. I'm not a coffee person. I did, again, a Southwest friend, one of those juices, those strawberry juice things, and like it was good. It was just like mostly ice. It was like a cup of ice and some juice. So I don't know. But I'm not a Starbucks person myself. But if you like Starbucks, then it's fine. I'd imagine that would be, monthly credit. And then the other memberships, I don't know, Apple TV. I mean, most of the stuff you can find online for free, right? But maybe that's not your deal. If we look at it, The multipliers, I think I need a little bit more. I think 4-back dining is good. I think I need the groceries to be 4-back as well, because I get 3-back already on the basic Savor card as well. I don't think that's enough of a punch up for me, really. And then the Venture X already has the 10X hotels and stuff. So there's definitely some stuff to be had here. Is it worth $300? I don't know. I don't hate it, but I guess it's just maybe because I know I'm thinking of who the target demographic is for this versus the other cards. So, you let me know down below what you think. Would you get this? I feel like on one hand, it's priced a little high, but at the same, I feel like it should be like 250, 200 to 250, something like that. But at the same time, the new market is $300 for these cards, and we can probably thank American Express for that, and everyone else just follows suit. I just think it's a different card, sure, but the Venture X for $395 for $100 or more. If I was only to pick one, I'd still go Venture X over this. I think it's hard to have both. It almost seems like you're going to go Venture plus this, or Savor plus Venture X. That's kind of how I see it, but because one more point back on dining and entertainment I don't think is enough, and the rest of these credits you just pay for yourself unless you're just really doing a hardcore Capital One entertainment. But again, let me know what you think down below. Now, not to be outdone here, American Express, and this was compliments of Proud Money. It was the first one who had this. I think the Credit Shifu also had a video on it as well. Trademarks. We love good trademarks. So American Express has filed multiple trademarks, which could become something or they could become nothing, but they are all for credit cards. You can kind of scroll through the trademark and see in the description basically leads you to believe it is a credit card. So let's take a look at some of these names. So you've got the Cash Premier, the Pro Cash, Cash Preferred, Premier Plus, Pro Rewards, Rewards Preferred, and the ones that people are getting the most excited about is the Catalyst and the Graphite. So we take the Cash ones first. There's just, who knows, right? We do know they killed the everyday lineup, so they do probably need some replacements to those. My problem is, whatever they come up with in the cashback line is probably going to suck. And I'm not necessarily trying to bash Amex, which I'm kind of known for. It's just American Express has told us by the products that they release, they do not care about cashback, and they don't really want to sell cashback products. This is my opinion. I just don't think they do. They play ultra conservatively. They've got caps on the 3x multiplier. So, it's probably some kind of replacement to those card lineup, I would imagine. Some of it could be a rebranding. I'm waiting for them to finally cave on the Cash Magnet card and make it a 2x card. You wouldn't necessarily have to change the name, but Citi's kind of shown us that changing the name of existing product from Citi Premier to the Strata Premier works, and it gets people excited. So why not change the name? What does it really cost them at that point? So because the earnings call, so they kept saying they were refreshing products. They didn't actually call out making new products. I can't imagine they're going to make 8 new cards. I think some of this stuff is probably going to be like the older versions of the everyday cards, right? Cash Premier or Premier Plus, Cash Preferred kind of, they already have the blue Cash Preferred. So I don't know. Pro Cash kind of sounds silly. Pro Reward sounds silly. Rewards Preferred sounds too close to membership rewards. But I can see Cash Premier, Cash Preferred, and Premier Plus being cards. I think Premier Plus, Pro Rewards, Rewards Preferred would earn membership reward points, obviously. You can see by the name. So the ones that people are getting most excited about are Catalyst and Graphite. Catalyst, I've seen, I saw on the name alone, I do agree with Mr. Shifu, who is technically Ben Hedges, but he's always going to be the Credit Shifu to me. It sounds like maybe a starter credit card, but at the same time, American Express isn't known for that, so I don't think they're like one of the last holdouts. I don't think they're going to do anything like that. I don't know. I think it might just sound like a cool name, and it might be like a mix between a travel and a lifestyle card, which everyone keeps playing around with the lifestyle name, right? Well, the green card is kind of a lifestyle-ish card for going out, transit, light travel. Maybe it'll be like a beefed up version of that. The $200 range is kind of open for them now that they moved the gold card up to $295 is what it goes for now. So you do have one between $175 and $225 open. So I could see something like that. Now the graphite one, of course, because you have green, gold, platinum. Well, I guess it was green's not a material, but gold, platinum, then graphite could be right in there. The thing about this is if we assume that's going to be their in between their jump between Platinum and Centurion, this card has to be stupidly expensive. It has to be. It has to be like $2,500 annual fee, $3,000 annual fee, because I would assume the card they come out with needs to actually get back some of the exclusivity of Platinum, because what thing that ruined the perks is it let everyone in, and now these perks aren't that good. Yeah, as much between hotel statuses, between lounges, you name it. And companies keep doing it. I think Apple's like a really good example. I know we're going long here, so we'll make this example, then we'll hand it over to you. But I remember standing in line at my local mall when we got an Apple store because it was a huge deal. I was still there with my mom because I'm cool, but because they opened an Apple store, and this was years and years ago. But because you couldn't get Apple stuff everywhere, they had like the kiosk at Best Buy for laptops, which made sense because you're going to compare laptops, you want to be there. But other than that, you really couldn't. And eventually, over time, Apple went from like the perception of, hey, it's exclusive and it's fancy. It was never true, but it was a perception, right? To they sell it at Target, at Walmart, at Kohl's, you name it, any store you walk into, they sell stuff in vending machines now, right? And now, granted, it might not be Apple, but still, someone's bought it and selling a vending machine. So eventually you run out of, that exclusivity, and you want to sell to everyone who has money, and that's what happened to the Platinum card, is my point. So the graphite would have to be very expensive, and I think obviously not as exclusive as the Centurion, but it would need to be exclusive, which means you cannot let everyone in, because you're going to have to upset some customers. And I almost set it up that like you now make the tiers obvious of, hey, you have to go progress through them in a certain order, go through Platinum, a certain amount of years, a certain amount of spend, the right type of customer to get to graphite. Again, getting to graphite is going to be doable and attainable, not like Centurion, but you want to do that. And I wouldn't want this myself, but if you want to continue with the fanciness and the allure and the prestige of American Express, then you've got to do some of this, and you've got to understand that it's just going to be off-putting to some people. Or I could be wrong, and they're just going to sell as many of them as they can, which is entirely possible. Or nothing could come of this, but I think that's what it's good. The Platinum card is not expensive enough. It's too open. It's too inclusive. I see one more person. Platinum card at 19, 20 years old. Show me your purchase power. That's what's impressive, not just that you got the card, right? So that's, a lot of speculation, as we said in the beginning, off of just a trademark filing, but I think it's probably a bigger topic in its own right of what they should do next, because I do think they have a problem, and like the way to fix it is going to piss some people off, but it's got to be expensive, it's got to be exclusive, and kind of make membership mean something again, more or less. Everyone can't get into the club where it's become, just a regular public park, right? So anyways, there we go. I'll hand it over to you because we're almost at 20 minutes. So let me know what you think about these. Would you get the Savor X card? What would you like to see on it? Of course, these Amex trademarks, all that and more. Love to get your thoughts on it. Of course, guys, if you like this one, drop me a thumbs up down below. If you found it particularly interesting, consider subscribing to the channel. So we're posting content just like this every single week. Of course, right back every Sunday with all the news you can use in the week that wasn't credit and finance. And of course, every single day over on ProfitableContent.com. The channel's blogs always linked down below for you. Of course, we have the latest news stories just like this. Plenty of bank promotions, some from Capital One, I think. And of course, credit card offers. So if we ever get a Savor X card, we'll have it over there because we do have a decent selection of Capital One cards. We do have the American Express cards too, so I don't think after that rant I'll get a graphite card over there, but you never know. You can start out with green crabs. Anyways, guys, that'll do for this one. As always, thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you very soon this week.